Hey everybody, it's Radishhead, and welcome back to Upland Analysis. Well, it happened. Nashville has released, and I think it's fair to say that the Nashville release was very different, certainly to what I expected, very different to what a lot of people expected, I think. And I think you can probably pick out two main reasons for that. Firstly, the neighbourhood situation, and I'll go over that in a minute. And secondly, just how expensive the properties in Nashville were. I did not anticipate this. I know some people were saying that Nashville, geographically, is a very large city, but in terms of population, it's quite small. So I guess put two and two together, that must mean the buildings are really big. But yeah, that was something I was not expecting. So I'm going to go through what I bought in Nashville, how I think I did. But I just wanted to cover, because as I said when I was doing my collection prediction video, I'm going to sort of come back to that once we get the collections. We're going to see how I did. We're going to see what learnings there are. And I just can't get over how weird the neighbourhood boundaries are in Nashville. A lot of the maps I was looking at, they had dozens of neighbourhoods. But the Upland team have decided to split it: North Nashville, East Nashville, West Nashville, South Nashville. You can see the names of the areas, like Mead. I thought that was going to be its own neighbourhood, but no, it's just a part of the wider Midtown neighbourhood. Midtown itself, I thought was going to be much, much smaller than that, which is why I put a potential collection on it. But no, it's like it's like half the city. So realistically, the only neighbourhood that I could see that has a chance of being a collection is downtown. The others are just too big. Maybe one of the others could be a standard collection. Maybe Midtown will be a standard collection. I could see it. It's possible. Because the point still stands. Midtown is quite an iconic part of Nashville. Certainly more than West Nashville or whatever. But that was my rant for the neighbourhoods. That's going to be something really interesting. I mean, as I say, that's the first time Upland have ever done that, where the neighbourhood boundaries have been so radically different to what we're expecting. So it's really going to require at least one more city release for us to understand if this is what the future of the game is going to be. And when it comes time to releasing collections, are we only going to have street collections, or are we going to have kind of neighbourhood collections, but they're not actually marked on the map? Are they instead going to be a subdivision of one of these larger neighbourhoods, and they're just going to say, these streets are part of this neighbourhood collection? I don't know. That might ruin my predictions a little bit, but in terms of streets, I think the trend is, it's mostly the ones which I kind of picked out in the video, which are pretty hot. I've seen a lot of talk about Charlotte Avenue, which I mentioned. Obviously, Broadway, 12 South Avenue is pretty hot. Some of the ones which I didn't mention, Page Street. I've seen people talking about Northumbria Street or Northumberland Street. Yeah, I mean, people even talk about Damon Brown Street. There's a lot of streets that are up for grabs potentially in terms of collections. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. In terms of how I did, I mean, I went in with hundreds of thousands of upticks. I thought I was going to get loads of stuff. But unfortunately, because the properties are so big and so expensive, especially in downtown, I was only able to grab a handful of properties, but I'll quickly show you them. So I got two in downtown. One of them I minted. It was my Block Explorer just kind of was over this side. So let me just zoom in. I got this one here. It looks like it's on Charlotte Avenue, which would have been really cool, but it's not. It's technically on Martin Luther King Boulevard or something, even though that's not on the map. So I wish it was Charlotte Avenue, because that would be great. But it cost me about 400,000 UPIX to mint this thing. So that was pretty much all of my money gone immediately from minting this. But at least the the returns will be good. And if is a exclusive collection, which I think Downtown's got a pretty good shot of being an exclusive collection, you know, the returns would be about 14,000 on that, I think, so that's not too bad. And then this other downtown property I actually bought on the secondary market, and I bought it for too much. I do this every time. I'm gonna have to make a video of mistakes to avoid when minting new cities, but I need to follow my own advice, because I do this every time. I'm like, oh, well, I got one big nice downtown prop. I think downtown's going to be a collection. Let me grab two of the cheapest downtown properties now to sort of fill out the the trio. So I've got a collection. This tiny thing here, this was the cheapest on the market at the time. I think I paid about 69,000 for it. It's a tiny thing, and as I'm sure you can imagine, 69,000. That is overpriced. A few minutes after I bought that one, people started selling theirs for like 55, 60,000. So it's not like I overpaid by, an unbelievable amount, but I did overpay. So I've got to try and remember that people, these sort of downtown exclusive collections, they always have a floor of about 50, 60k. So I don't know why I was spending 69k on this one, but hey. So aside from downtown, something I did manage to mint, which I'm quite happy about, I minted a couple of properties in what I was expecting to be the Music Row neighbourhood, but instead it's not actually marked as a neighbourhood, but I'm crossing my fingers that Upland is going to say, hey, there's a Music Row collection. It's, this area that's widely recognised as being called Music Row, even though it's not a neighbourhood. So we'll see. But I got a few properties there. So I got this one on Division Street, which I looked it up and I thought it was a recording studio after I minted it. I was like, oh my days, I accidentally minted a recording studio. But no, that's actually the building next door. So that's a shame. But I got the parking lot for the recording studio. So if Music Row's a collection, that should be in it. And then this is the best one that I got, because it's actually in Music Square. So there was some speculation that if they don't have the Music Row neighbourhood, if there is a Music Row collection, it might just be Music Square West, Music Square East, and then the Music Music Circuit? Whatever. Yeah, it might be just the ones with music in the names for the streets. So if that is the case, then at least I've got one of them. So that could be a rare if I'm lucky. And a bit further to the south, this is still in Music Row. So if they decide to announce the entire area that's kind of widely recognised as Music Row as a collection, these three tiny things here, I bought them on the secondary market for about 20k each. So if they are a collection, that's going to be a big return, and if they're not, I'm willing to put up with the gamble on that one. I think there's a decent chance. That one on the right there, that is a property that I thought was in Music Row, when I was kind of scrambling on the secondary market, panicking like I always do. No, it's outside of Music Row, so that's a useless property that I've bought there. Although, to be fair, it could go in the Nashville collection, have 3 properties in Nashville, plus I didn't pay that much for it. It was like 8k, so it's pretty much the floor for the city. And then the only other area that I minted, I was kind of following my own predictions video, and I haven't seen as much hype for this street as I was expecting, but Hillsborough Pike, it is iconic, right? It's a extremely exclusive part of Nashville. Lots of nice big mansions there, and it's smack dab in the middle of this green hills area, which I thought was going to be the Green Hills neighbourhood, but again, it's part of this wider mid-city neighbourhood. But one, Upland could say, hey, Green Hills actually is a collection, so I could get lucky there. And two, they could say that Hillsborough Pike is a collection, because I think it's got a good chance. In fact, it's so exclusive that the properties I've bought don't even have street views, because they don't let the street view car down here. But I got them right next to each other. The mints were fairly expensive. I think I paid about 100k for the three, at least, maybe 150k. And to be fair, like, most of Hillsborough Pike is minted, but man, the prices on these properties are so expensive that I don't blame people for not wanting to take a gamble on minting a Hillsborough Pike if it's like 60k mint, when they could spend 100k on something in the secondary market that's much more likely to be a collection, like something in downtown, for example. So I have a feeling that when the collections are revealed in a few days' time, supposedly, there's going to be a lot of properties that haven't been minted yet that are going to be revealed as being in a collection. So I'd hold fire a little bit on buying too much, save some UpX, because I think there's going to be loads of really, really good opportunities when Upland's like, hey, here you go, here are the collections. By the way, this like rare collection still has like a dozen properties at least that can be minted. Having said that, if they haven't been minted and they get unveiled as a collection, the base mint price actually multiplies to account for the the fact that it's now in a collection, which is great because it means that your kind of like revenue return, the rent, is actually multiplied as well because it's based off the initial mint. But unfortunately, it means that some of these properties, if they get unveiled as a collection, they might be like 1 million UpX to mint them. So I don't know if Upland is trying to tackle UpX inflation. It's something I was kind of speculating on when I was going through the roadmap that they had. They had like plans for like revenue caps or something like that. Maybe this is all part of it, because what an expensive city. They've got the numbers. They know how much UpX people have. They all have looked at the Nashville opening and they'll know that the vast majority of it isn't minted and probably won't be for a very long time. One more thing I just wanted to point out while I was scrolling around Nashville. I'm moaning about the expensive properties, but I do want to say I think this might be the best like new player opportunity that I've ever seen, because all around Nashville there are hundreds, maybe thousands of these tiny FSA properties. Look at them. There's some right here. They're all over the map. Look, all of these are FSA, and if you click on them, they're like 2k, 1.7k. I'll tell you right now, there is nothing for non-FSA below like 5 or 6k. I think that's about right. So it's in that region. But there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these sub 2k FSA props. If you're an FSA player and you just dropped, I don't know, $50 into the game, use my referral link to get an extra 50%, you could just buy up like all of these teeny tiny Nashville FSAs, and then you can like double the price because you'll still be below the floor price for Nashville, and I think they'll sell. So yeah, I think that's got to be intentional on Upland's part, and that's good for them, helping out the newbies. But yeah, keep an eye out for that, because I think word's going to get out that, oh my god, like this is the discrepancy between the FSA floor and the non-FSA floor in Nashville is wider than I've ever seen any city ever. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. But that's how I did in Nashville. Apparently it won't be too long before we hear what's a collection and what's not. I'm crossing my fingers for Hillsborough Pike, double crossing my fingers for Music Row, and hopefully downtown will get something as well. Let me know in the comments what you got, what you thought about the Nashville launch, and if you're new to the channel, please, I'd love it if you subscribed for more. And if you did like the video, if you liked it, give me a like, because that really helps the channel out. But until next time, I'll see you then. Thank you.